Welcome to Kitchen Table Conversations with Multicultural Family Hub. I'm Chessie.
And I'm Andre
And if you've been with us for a while, you will recognize we are in a different space.
at a
We did
different
it
kitchen table.
at a different, all the way across the country. So we just moved from rural Northern California. I'm going this way, so it makes sense. Rural Northern California all the way down to Savannah, Georgia. And wow, it was a journey.
Yeah.
It still is a journey. So we happen to have a kitchen table, which I bought off Facebook Marketplace from this really sweet college student. She and her cute Venezuelan parents moved this super heavy table down like 4 flights of stairs and clogged up the whole situation for about an hour, but we got it. So we have a kitchen table. Yesterday we just got chairs. We've been here
Yeah.
for about a week and we're still sleeping on the floor in egg crates, waiting for our things to come.
Summer camping.
Summer camping. Honestly, it hasn't been, I was really nervous about it. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
I'm
actually
gonna sleep.
yeah.
It's gonna be terrible. But it's actually been
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
We just have like basic cooking stuff, basic dishes, and stuff on the floor. And we're slowly acquiring things through Facebook Marketplace, which
Fun.
frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun experience.
Yeah. So we did it. We're sleeping on the floor, made the transition.
But before arriving here, there's the start of the journey over.
Yeah, so we took a red eye, no regrets. I am so thankful we did not drive across the country because we would be like just arriving now with a lot more big feelings.
And there's a heat wave hitting the southern region of the US.
So excited
And
about
so
that.
it's like, 100 in Texas, 100 in Louisiana, 91 in Georgia. So that would have been a big drive.
For sure. So we took a red eye and we had gotten some, so we have 3 kids and a 1-year-old wiener dog. And so we had gotten her some doggy downers to try to make it a smooth transition. So we gave her her little doggy downers like an hour. We did all the things. We like took the kids to a park. We did dinner. We're like, okay, it's like 9 o'clock, ready to go, checked in. She had her doggy downer, and like as soon as we were about to leave, she like puked everything up in her carrier in the
In
airport.
the airport.
I was like, okay. But I mean, I kind of expected that like it was gonna get real,
Have to
right?
get
I
real.
was like, this was like kind of the linchpin moment, right? When
Yeah.
you're like in it, red-eyeing across the country. And I was like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot for me, there was a lot of walking with a puppy in a carrier to try to find like a spot. So I like scooped all the dog puke out before we got on the plane. But that also meant that she didn't really have her downer. So she did a great job.
Yeah.
There was only a little bit of wiping.
Yeah.
But honestly, overall, it went really smoothly.
Yes.
Trying to encourage kids to sleep on the plane because it's like when with all the time changing, right? Really, you're getting into your destination at 3 in the morning. So they were tiny champions and did a great job.
Hmm.
There was a lot less crankiness than I'd anticipated. There was like right when we got here, some really big emotions about
Just talking about that.
yeah. I mean, kids are tired and hungry, and they are like, why did we do this? We didn't want to move anyways. We hate it. What are you doing? We're like, hour 3
Hour
in.
3.
And um, yeah, that for me is hard to hold because it's like it's like the flood of questions like, am I doing the right thing? What are we
Mm,
doing? We just moved our family across country. I'm tired and exhausted, also hungry, and trying to let my children have their big
hmm.
emotions and stay rooted in knowing that we're doing the right thing and following that whole body exhale. We talk about that in the Itchy Sweater
Hmm.
podcast when you follow that thing that's like, oh, no, this is the thing. And holding on to that feeling is so challenging when everyone is having big emotion
Hmm.
because for me, it makes me question
Yeah.
all the things that we're doing. Do you agree? I mean, do you feel, I feel like you're better at being like, that's your stuff.
Um, Mm. I agree. I think the key in it is it's this interesting balance is to allow the people you love to have their feelings
Mm,
and honor those feelings, but not then fall into the trap of either trying to make them not feel that
mm,
or allow their feelings to be a reflection that you did something wrong or that you're not good enough. So it's like both and I
yeah.
think you and I had kind of prepped over the months
Yeah.
because of the move. We've been prepping on or practicing how to do that, how to allow people to feel tired, frustrated, hangry. 99% of the time, that's what it is, um, without then internalizing that and then making it mean something about ourselves
And
and
reacting.
reacting. And that's the piece is like allowing you might be driving and maybe the kids are tired and hangry and they might be whining in the back seat for 20 minutes. Are you okay? Can you be okay allowing them just to let that out and know that it doesn't mean anything about you? It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. And also, you don't have to like squash it because they are also going through this big experience. And
Yeah.
that's the key is like the kids are we're the adults and we're going through this big transition, but they are also experiencing this transition in their own way or in the way that their 7-year old or 9-year old, or maybe in your case as a 13 or 14-year-old brains are processing it. And so allowing that space for them to go, yeah, we're asking you to do, you're
Big
doing some
things.
big heavy lift. And you know what? You might need some time to whine, to cry, to get upset, and then we eat some good food and everyone's running around happy again. And that's kind of the cycle that
And
we're in.
I struggle with the physical impacts of
Mm,
like the whining and the like their emotions. Because for me um that like dysregulates my nervous system where I'm like, oh, that like I cannot
yeah.
handle the like whine scream right now. And so within the transition, instead of fully shutting it down, being able to be like, everybody, I need everyone to pause and breathe. And you are doing really hard things right now. Like this is hard. We are leaving all our friends, we're leaving our family, and we're starting over in a completely new city, in a
Mm,
completely new environment, completely new culture. Yes, this is hard. And I feel like that has when the like volume in the vehicle is like whoa, that helps
mm.
at least bring it down. Because it's like I want to say that like yes, this is totally valid. Yes, this is super hard. And I also let them know like the your vocalization right now is I'm having a hard time being
Yeah.
calm and showing up the way I want to
Mm,
show up. So having those full conversations with our kids because it's
yeah.
like we are all in this together and like still the parents
Mm.
still setting boundaries
And,
and
well, I think that
space
that
for
and is showing our vulnerability
yeah.
too, being like, yeah,
Sorry.
there's moments where this is easier, this is smoother for me. And there's moments where it's like, no, this is hard, and I'm really having to focus and pay attention, to be present and to be
Yeah.
engaged. So it's once again, it's being allowing ourselves to be vulnerable with the people we love and say, yeah, I'm not always good. And and right now I'm in a not great space. Maybe I haven't eaten, and usually for me, that's what it is. And so it's like,
You'll
hey,
get super
and even be
hangry.
able to say to our kids, like, I'm hungry right now. And because I'm hungry, I'm impatient and I have a hard time thinking, processing. So if you guys could just chill for like 10 minutes and once I get some food, then I'm back. That seems like a really small skill, but it's huge. It's saying, yeah, dad gets hangry and frustrated just like every other human being and letting them know and sharing that part of you, is brave. And so that's one of the things that we have used when engaging with our kids through this heavy lift is like I kind of goes back, like you said, recognizing what they're going through,
Yeah.
honoring that and saying, yeah, this is hard what we're asking you to do, but also then at the same time allowing them to see, hey, here's what we also need from you in this process that we all can be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So
was like I would say that was kind of the initial transition, right?
that was
Well,
the
lots of big
big.
emotions. There's still we're like a week in. Oh, we're sorry, we're like a week in, and um there are still those big emotions, but I feel like some of those like the like moments were right upon arrival.
Yes.
Um, one of the other things that I have been so I am loving it. We are it's been amazing, even though we're sleeping on the floor.
You said at one point, randomly in the car, you just looked at me and you said, I feel like I'm myself again.
Yeah. So we have in a week been to the beach 3 times. I got to go salsa dancing already, which just filled up my entire soul and face. I could not stop smiling. Everyone in the class was like, "What's wrong with
Also,
that lady?"
Californians.
Yeah, like
What? Smiley. What are you smiling at?
oh man, it was so good. It's fun too. I got to do a lesson and I've done mostly social dancing up until
Mm,
this point. So I had a lot of like moves in my arsenal, but
mm,
I'm like, oh, it's so good for me to learn the technical side too.
mm.
And super warm and inviting people. I always love a salsa community.
Yeah,
I mean, people are just so happy to have another body come dance.
yeah, yeah.
So that was, man, it's been good so far. I'm loving like big hair humidity. Like that is making me so happy.
Your skin is
Um,
always moist.
oh, I mean, we moved from
Yeah.
such a dry climate. So just, it's so funny because all the things that were like people's warnings that were like, oh, it's going to be so hot. It's going to be so humid. I'm
But
loving
it's,
that.
yeah.
I know it's only June. I'll talk to you in August and keep you posted. I know it's going to get more intense, but for right now, it feels so
Mm,
good to not be worried about fire.
mm,
It feels good to like not be worried about dryness. People also gave me were like, oh, the bugs. And I'm like, well, so far the bugs where we came from was worse.
mm.
So it's just been interesting, like people's stories about what you're going to experience versus what I'm actually experiencing. I follow this really sweet lady on Instagram who moved from the South to California and is having the same experience, right?
Right,
Where she's like
opposite.
opposite. Where she's
Yeah.
like, oh, people told me California was like this, and I'm having this really positive experience. And I mentioned that to say just that for this experience moving to Savannah for some people might be really negative, right? Where they're like, that was not what I expected. That was not what I wanted. I don't like it here. But for us already, it's been really healing and
Mhm.
good. So
Well,
yeah.
and I think this is where we kind of go to, you don't, you make a decision in life or you make a decision as partners and you don't know the necessarily the outcome of it. And so sometimes you make that decision and you can't rely on the outcome to determine if it was a good decision or a not so good decision. And so using those moments, those little signs, of and we've had those in our couple or several days here of signs where we're like, okay, this, yes, and yes. And yes, and now we don't know how it's going to end up. We don't know the end of this story, but we know that we're getting them. We call them those glimmers.
Yeah.
Those glimmers, and it might just be I feel different. Like Jesse's saying, like I feel a little more alive. I feel like I'm myself.
Yeah.
Those are not they we call them glimmers because they're small moments, but they're not small things to be ignored because those are often the things, at least we found, that keep us kind of taking one step forward and another step forward. They kind of keep us the compass aligned.
And that's, I mean, it's scientific, right? That's like the dopamine hit. Like you get the like little reward,
Mm,
right? You were when you recognize the glimmer, when you recognize the gratitude, you like feel that.
hmm.
And that feeling like helps move you to the next level.
Yeah.
And I am not good at stopping and doing that. I'm pretty sure we talked about that in the last episode. So
Yeah.
Andre's really good at saying like, okay, like usually a midday check-in and an end of the day, like what have we accomplished so far? And like stopping and recognizing, today we got our chairs and we put them together in the
Mm,
morning, and that felt like a huge
yeah.
win. We, um, yeah, it's been interesting. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Well, it's like walking that back a little bit. Anytime you're in a partnership and you're making any kind of transition, big or small, it could be
Yeah.
something as let's go pick out some utensils. Any kind of transition when two people are trying to come together on the same page often can result in tension, probably some fighting or
There's plenty of
stress.
that.
And so making a big transition like this, we already knew that that was a part of the formula if you just let it run on autopilot.
Yeah.
So one of the things we decided once we landed, because you land, and especially in our case where you're like, you still there's furniture you don't have, there's things that you like life things that you have to do, getting new licenses, registering cars, utilities, all of those things, that can get so overwhelming and you can almost hit a decision fatigue every day that eventually end up kind of taking it out on the people you care about the most. So what we decided to do, like Chelsea was just kind of explaining, is we would say at the beginning of the day, what's in front of us today? So what are the two or three or sometimes one thing where it's like, this is our goal for today. And we would typically in the morning make that our first priority. But then after we did those things, we would check in midday and say, let's kind of congratulate each other or show some gratitude and recognize that like we went and got licenses put in our names. And then we got new tags for the vehicle. And then we went and got a table off Facebook Marketplace. And then we would pause and go, we that's enough for today. So then this rest of this afternoon with the kids, let's make a decision as a family. What do we want to do that's joyful for us this afternoon? It could be going to the pool, it could be going to the park, it could be for us going to the ocean, it could be going down to the Bull Street Library and just letting our kids look at all the hundreds of different books and us
Get
getting to
life
check out,
cards.
yeah, get library cards. So doing that every day has allowed us to be in this transition in a way that I think has been really beautiful and allowed us to do it like together in partnership versus everything being a constant battle or somebody trying to push forward when the other person is really exhausted and that tension. But we have to do it every day. And that midday check-in is really critical for us. And then that end of the day check-in with the kids. Hey, what happened today? What was fun? What was joyful? What did we learn?
Yeah, they do their glimmers. I also want to throw out a travel hack,
Travel hack.
especially when you're doing, so like us as parents, we have to run around and like do paperwork, run in and out of stores where it's like you don't want to take the whole team with you all the time. Kids' audiobooks.
Wow.
So just for those moments where I have to run in somewhere for 10 minutes and they have to sit in the car and we don't bring screens everywhere with us, but the audio we listened to the whole Wild Robot series. So
Fascinating.
good. They
Sucked
loved
me
it. So we
right
have
in.
two 7-year-olds and a 9-year-old. Amazing. The Wild Robot, so solid. Right now we are listening to Elf Hound and Owlhead, and they are la like belly laughing.
Yeah.
We actually, at the end of the day, because we'd gone swimming and we're tired, and they'd already done plenty of screen time for the day, we all just like kind of sat on the couch and I stretched and we cuddled, and it was all these pieces. We just listened to the audiobook, and it was so sweet. Leo goes, "Can we do this every night?" And I was like,
There's something really joyful about listening to at least I find joyful about listening to any kids, but in your family listening to our children laugh out loud.
"Oh my gosh,
And also laughing and you get to be like you're kind of on the outside of
that's so
it.
true."
You're watching their reaction to something. It could be an audiobook, a film, music, or just general, you know, family hilarity. And so that's been a really great way for us to make sure we're ending the night is just listening to them laugh and kind of being together. And so those are some of the tools, or actually some of the strategies that we have learned. We're
Yeah,
not masters of them, but we've learned and applied them. And I think if without those things, it would have been a very different last couple weeks.
yeah. So we've had um letting them letting people have their
Yeah.
emotions and also like communicating about what you need. So it's, always a both and, not a
Mhm.
binary,
Mhm.
right? Because if I just let my children's emotions run rampant, it would be overwhelming. Our like my job, I feel like also is to help coach them through so we can like get to a good spot together.
Add
So
some protein food in there, and it really helps
yeah.
everything.
And then just share, so going back over wins
Yes.
and that helps us get to the next piece. And the other piece I was going to share is just doing the next thing in front of you. And I feel like that ties into the wins. So there's been a lot of wrenches thrown in just because that's life. Life is wrenches, right? Yes.
And if you're wondering why we're sleeping on the floor, quick wrench. Not wrench, but quick change.
Oh, just initially when I got the moving quote, it was like, oh yeah, it'll take this amount of time. And then we had to switch our date. So that kind of like
Mm.
changed up the situation. So
So things
our
are
stuff
coming.
is coming, but just a week
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. And so
And
that was it was a change. It was
yeah,
a
not
wrench.
planned.
Yeah.
Not planned.
No.
But I also feel like that is a common story. Like that's a common theme
Absolutely.
is like you move and then your stuff takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
That's just like check, check,
Yeah.
part of the shebang.
Mm.
Um, and like so I'd rented a truck for a few weeks. So I was like, okay, we get there, we can like get stuff together. So I knew we needed to get a car because we sold all of our stuff in California. So we were going to get a car here. So I was working on that and learned that, oh, to register a car, you have to get a Georgia license. Good to know. So, a lot of the trajectory shifting.
Yeah.
Also, like, how do you pay for a car in cash from a private buyer when your banks are across the country? We took a few days to figure that out. Yeah.
But I think the beautiful thing is instead of trying to predetermine what are the things you're going to have to figure out,
Yeah.
some of them you know, some of them it's like, okay, that's pretty standard. What's been beautiful, at least I think, is like we've had people who we interact with and then they essentially guide us and they say, oh, hey, in order to do that, you have to do this. So in order for before you buy that car, in order to register it, you're gonna have to have your California license transitioned over to a Georgia license. And
Yeah.
so all of a sudden it changes the thing that's in front of us. So instead of getting the car, it's like, well, let's move that first.
Yeah.
And then we get to engage in it. And typically that means us learning something new and call it. And it all kind of slowly reveals itself. You know, we got our licenses and then we have our vehicle, we go to register it and we walk into the DMV and the lady says, no, you're in the wrong building. You got to go to the building next door.
Pause. So, Georgia Department of Driver Services, different from where you get your tag.
Yeah.
California Department of Motor
Yeah.
Vehicles is everything. And I think I'm going to pause there
Yeah.
because I thought that was like such a key moment because one of our kids is like really conscientious about doing things the wrong way. Like even if he watches Sat Nav, he's like, Sat Nav, that was straight bluey.
Sat nav.
Sat
Dad, why
Nav.
aren't you following sat nav? I'm like, I don't need this whole place is a square. I'll figure it
What I
out.
mean is like Google Maps, right? Like Bluey just gets in all the way.
Yeah.
But anyways, doesn't like to mess up. And so I remember we walked in to Department of Driver Services where we had been to get our licenses.
And we were prepped. We had the
Prepped, yeah.
backpacks, got
We're like,
snacks, like hey, everybody got their
we were
stuff.
going to get tags, and the lady was like, "Oh, you in the wrong building. Like, you got to go one over." And he goes, "Oh, this is so embarrassing." And for us, we're like, no, this is the process.
This is our way.
And so in some ways, I'm just glad to be able to have our kids along on the journey with us to see us like, oh, nope, you do this. Oh, that doesn't work. And then you do the next thing. And not to carry shame or like, I should know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, because I've never done it before.
Mhm.
And that this is just the process of doing something new is you try and then you're like, oh, that wasn't it. And then you try something different. And that is the whole process of life. And I also kind of have that where I'm like, I want to do it right the first time. And so it's a good practice for me to be like, okay, my number one, my kids are watching, but I'm also doing this for myself. It's like it's not a big deal. It doesn't mean anything about me. Don't get it right the first time. That's just part of life. So it's been a good practice in doing lots of new things and taking wrong turns and just the whole process of figuring it out.
So a little recap, if you are a couple or parents that are considering a transition or in a transition, big or small, our kind of takeaways now that we've landed is let's review them.
Oh, do you not remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? How do we get there?
Numero uno.
Give me number one and I'll go from there.
Number one is
All right,
sorry.
what was number one? Don't let your dog throw up in the carrier. Okay, no, that wasn't it. What was number one?
I don't think that's preventable. Number one is just letting your kids have their emotions.
Letting
I should say, letting everyone
everyone
in
get
the system
down.
have their emotions and also coaching each other through them so that we are not all subject to everyone screaming. Sidebar, remember blood sugar and snacks.
Number two would be taking the time to recognize your glimmers and your gratitudes for the things that you have accomplished each day. Maybe not, don't look at the whole picture, look at what did we get done today. And then after that is embed joy in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like for you and your family and the parents, the ones we're talking to right now. Chessie went to salsa. I
Hmm.
got to go to two in live yoga classes. Our joy came from different places, but it recharged the whole system. So
Yeah.
there's also that. Sometimes it's together, but sometimes you got to say, okay, I got to go over here, and you're going to go over there, and then we come back. We're coming back refreshed.
Yeah.
So joy can look different. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be together. And then number three, you
No, I
forgot.
don't. You made me nervous because I was like, I'm not gonna forget, and then I forgot. Is doing the next thing with that faith.
Yeah.
Is so doing the next thing that's in front of you.
Mm.
So rather
Without
than
embarrassment and without any shame.
right.
Because you're probably not, if you're like us, we rarely get it right the first time.
No, and we do,
Yeah.
I think it's like both and. I'm a big researcher, so there's like only so many things you can research, right? So I like to research a certain amount and then you just got to run into it and be like, oh, okay, we're trying to buy a car, but first we got to get licenses. And so just going with the process
Mm,
that shows up.
mm,
And like Andre said, and within that, because I also want to do everything all in one day, is just having like a set amount, like you said, of like three things that we are accomplishing today and recognizing to be a little bit flexible.
mm,
And I have to say, within that like flexibility piece too, I have been a big fan of scheduling just to like help my brain know what the next thing to do is. And this has been such an unscheduled time, and I feel like it's been really good in creating new routines because I felt like I was a little bit too locked in
mm.
where we were. And it's been really fun to kind of like break it all apart and be like, we like dinner is no longer happening at a certain time. And the kids love Wendy's, which is not something that ever has been in my purview before. Like, I'm a very conscious eater. And so being like, you know what?
We're gonna let
Today
today we're gonna let this one go and then
Today is
create
Wendy's,
something.
and you guys are stoked. And
And as they eat it, they look and they say, "This is the best thing I've ever had. It's the best meal ever. I wish every meal tastes like this." And you just have to have so much belief in yourself that you do not take that to heart. You just gotta go, okay.
okay, cool.
I
Yeah.
remember I probably also thought that too
Oh
when I
yeah,
was
it was
eating
the
like
best.
checkered burgers outside of Atlanta. I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened in my
I
life.
remember. I feel like mine was oh no, it was Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box.
Jack, is that just West Coast?
I didn't see a Jack in the Box though. I moved to California.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And In-N-Out, also West Coast, but
Which
legitimately
it's
good.
very good. Yeah, very good. And now.
Um,
So yeah. Um, because we live down the road from this, if you're ever in Savannah, check out the Bull Street Library. If you're not in the library, just go. It's beautiful. It's massive. It's got an incredible collection of books. But in this transition, the one that I read this week would be Brene Brown's The Quest for True Belonging in a Cursed Alone. It's called Braving the Wilderness. It is a really, really, really good read. My takeaway from this book is that she makes the point that you cannot have true gratitude without a sense of joy embedded in there. So we all know, there's the lip service of like, oh, I'm so
I'm so
grateful
grateful,
for
even though
this
I'm
half
miserable.
piece of carrot because I know there's someone else out there that only gets a quarter piece of. That's not it. This is, saying the joy that we experience when we're at the beach, the joy that you experience listening to your kids laugh, the joy, those moments of joy allow you to be grateful for the processes or the hard or the challenges that got you to that point. So joy and gratitude live hand in hand. Being grateful is being joyful. And when you're joyful, the act of being joyful, the act of having joy in your life and your family is a way of showing gratitude for what you have.
And
So,
I have only been reading Facebook Marketplace posts.
which is amazing because if we would have a lot of books and no furniture. And so I told the kids yesterday, I was like, if your mom was not here, I would probably never find chairs. I would only get ones I find for free on a corner somewhere.
You are,
So
you
I
are.
am very grateful as I'm sitting in this chair because it wasn't even on I was like, I need a library card because that's the most important thing.
And I was like, we gotta get furniture.
It takes two, or it takes at least it does take a village. It doesn't
Minimum two.
minimum, yeah.
I'm excited to find a village. And
Yeah.
tonight, I'm so excited.
Oh, tonight. Yes.
We are going to go to our first Juneteenth celebrations. There's so many celebrations in the city. Today is Juneteenth that we're recording this. There's so many
Happy Juneteenth out
celebrations
there.
in the city of Savannah. So we're gonna go to at least two this
Yeah,
weekend, and that is, I'm so excited.
yeah, tonight, Daffin Park, celebration with fireworks and music and vendors and food trucks. And then on Saturday is at Forsyth Park is another big celebration and music and just kind of the celebration of, and for us, this is a big deal because, both Daffin, Forsyth being in, downtown at Savannah, these are spaces where not so long ago, Jesse and I could not stand together. And we definitely could not stand together in a relationship. And our kids would definitely, these are spaces, physical spaces where a lot of it would have been even illegal for us to be what we are. So for us showing up in these spaces, taking a day and physically being there, physically participating freely, openly, it really is enjoy is our way of showing gratitude that we're so grateful to live in a time where everybody, hopefully, in a time where people get to love exactly who they want, be who they want, and be with the people that they love freely. And hopefully we can continue to preserve that and continue to expand it as we move forward. So for us tonight, the dancing, the music, the food trucks, the fireworks, that's the joy part. And in that joy embedded is the gratitude for the people that did the really, 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 really challenging, hard,
Yeah.
heartbreaking work so that we, this multicultural family, can exist today in freedom. And now I'm done.
If I keep going, I'm
But I
gonna
have
cry.
to say that
It's
because she's
gonna
gonna cry and the mascara thing, and I don't, it
It's
doesn't
been a
come
lot of
up for me.
mascara.
And so, but anyway, this is where we are. So this is the close of our
Moving
moving
series.
series. Thank you so much for
We
going
did
on this
it.
journey. We are not experts, but if you have any questions or you want some insight in your potential transition that your family's looking at, please feel to reach out, put something in the comments. A reminder, the community is opening up. We are still working on that. We're really close to getting that thing launched. And so we're very excited to kind of embed some more of what it's going to look like for you and your family in there. And then we also are very, very excited because at the end of this year, we're working on a really, really special workshop that's going to be available to couples. Yes.
Yay.
Get in the room.
Yeah, we're pushing the dates back a little bit because this whole transition was, we underestimated it. I mean,
we always underestimate it.
absolutely. So keep you posted. It's looking like mid-July we're going to open up our community, and we can't wait to see you there. Thanks for following along, and happy Juneteenth.
And welcome to the new kitchen table right here. See you next time.
Bye.